I like your voice.
I didn't say anything yet, Mary.
I know, but I've heard you before. I like your voice. You should be an actor.
Give me a second. My name is John Korn. This is the first poem I'm going to read. It's called Mr. Poem. I guess that's it. There is no poem tonight. I left out wine and cheese and he never showed up. I even conjured up visions of various women both in degrading sexual positions and respectful attire. I thought about the end, the big end of humans and our fatal flaws. I thought about the beginning of time and the great big mysterious mystery that will always be lurking and making no sense in that curious knowing way, as if it has a consciousness to it, like it's fucking with us. I thought about all the shit jobs and all the directionless young adults and old adults. I had all these things placed out in that reach for any type of discussion that could have arrived. I even did things today, like flirted with that girl who sold me coffee. I observed the whole encounter because maybe my earlier topics were too heavy and dark, and perhaps the fucking poem wanted to observe everyday little things. She had freckles, but apparently that wasn't good enough for Mr. Poem. He had better things to do. Maybe he went to a rock and roll show and is filling some singer's throat with the same lame rhyming lyrics over and over, making everyone nod their heads. A lot more exciting than writing at a computer, I guess. What a complete fucker. He could have called at least. He's probably hanging around some teenager's diary, filling his pages with angst-ridden bullshit. And Christ, why do I care? I wish I had an expensive camera. Fuck that poem. I'd rather film things right now. Anyway, I gotta shave, call the bank, order new checks. I never even invited a poem into my house, not fucking once. One just showed up and they kept coming, all barging in without introduction, shortening my attention span with chicken shit broken lines and grouped and stacked like I don't know, screw metaphors. I got my own identity, Mr. Poem. I don't need you. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Somebody be a rabbit here. Dog here. Okay. The sad, sad death of Mr. Parkston. Mr. Parkston died today, tumbled down the stairs, was hanging a picture of his son who hasn't called since Thanksgiving over the banister, and his mind went blurry, and his wife who left him for a dog trainer 20 years ago popped into his thoughts. He remembered a conversation about confusion, and she had said, "My brain feels like a potato," and this made him chuckle to himself in a sad way, and the house was very silent, so his shoulders sunk, and he forgot about the picture. And he rested the hammer he held on top of the ladder, and in his other hand the frame started to loosen in his grip, so he quickly tried to steady it, and somehow ended up with legs bowed overhead, crashing from top floor to first, step by step, each wooden block banging his head and body, jogging strange and intense visions of childhood. When his dad, in a rage over something, picked up his Mr. Potato Head doll and smashed it over his mother's forehead. And so Mr. Parkston fell and came to a rest on the Asian rug next to the front door, neck a crooked bent knot of flesh, just as white envelopes fluttered into the mail slot. Yeah. Using my imagination for deep thoughts and escape on July 24th, 2006. I floated in water today, on my back, looking up, and saw one plane cross overhead, close to the ground, large, in the curve of a darkening blue sky. A miracle. Clouds like worn curtains, my soul feels thin. Those machines up there and the people inside seemed unreal. They were up there eating, drinking, and breathing, going somewhere in a large metal cylinder with wings. And I was down here in a small pool in someone else's backyard, North Hills of Pittsburgh. My ears underwater. I heard nothing, and this was good. Someone in that plane could have looked out from his tiny window and watched many backyards pass along beneath him, with many small pools and people in them. The person on the plane might think of us all down here as a group. Those are the people in their pools, he might think. They are doing their thing together. But he'd be wrong, because I was alone and it wasn't my pool. And those other people in those other pools in the very same neighborhood were just as invisible and as far away to me as this hypothetical man in the plane. And why does it have to be a man? Why couldn't it be a plane full of young women, naked and bathing in a small pool of soapy water, scrubbing each other's backs? How delightful to think the sky is full of naked young women. All right, I'm going to do one more, and then I'll pass it off to somebody else. Are these original? Yes, these are all original. This is called Television Farm. John Korn, you can get that on Amazon. Sweet. And this is called The Guy Who Got All Crazy. This is $3 here at Cofee Buddha. There's like 5 copies left. And I'm going to read something from the guy. I mean, I'll just read the title poem.
Tell them about the time I read your book and I got all crazy.
My book this book has a tendency to drive people crazy. 2 people have bought it and have lost their minds.
Awesome. I'm one of them.
I'll just read the title poem of this book. Oh, there's also illustrations in here. His wife was up to 13 Xanax. It's called The Guy Who Got All Crazy, by the way. His wife was up to 13 Xanax a day. She laid on the couch most of the time and watched TV. His dog had a purple tumor on its neck that was starting to break open and drip. All the water in his fish tank was all brown and cloudy. He worked in a glass booth all night, letting cars into a secured parking lot. And the kids with the loud bass in the back of their daddy's Volvos would fuck with him. And he took their money and handed them their ticket. And he'd wonder who the hell he was and how the hell he got there. So one day he just walked away from it, with nothing but the clothes on his back. The police searched and the TV put up his picture, but no one found shit. So his wife buried an empty coffin, charged $3,000 an interview, and told everyone she never saw it coming. Most people say he's dead, but some say he went into the sewers and turned wild, that his clothes wore away and he had to make new ones out of plants and garbage bags, that he grew all hairy and beast-like and he hunts down rats with a sharpened stick. I heard that around Jack's Run Road that he constructed some tin can and cardboard altar for some god he invented, and that he brings gifts to it like dead cats and stuffs he finds on the road. I seen him through my kitchen window in my backyard moving around like he was going through spasms, looked like some ritual, a rain dance. The next day I found footprints and strange markings written on the trees. My dog is pregnant. I'm waiting for the babies. Thank you.